G'day, Rob Malicki from Choosing Your Uni. Thanks for your company. I'm coming to you today from Garrigal Land in Sydney. And my guest, I'm thrilled to have her here, is Seds from Victoria Uni. We've got an awesome interview coming up all about her experience at VU and the Bachelor of Psychology, amongst other things. Seds, great to have you here. How good is this?
Yeah, it's awesome. My name is Sedef, or my nickname Seds, and I study at Victoria University in Melbourne, and I'm in my third year currently doing a Bachelor of Psychology honours. Hi Rob, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be doing this interview as well. I've seen a lot of your work and really excited to speak to you.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. So VU, let's start there and then write a little bit about your background. Fascinated to get into the details. But tell me about VU. What's it like to study there?
Sure. So Victoria University, we have two main areas. So VU in Melbourne and VU in Sydney. I'm in Melbourne at the moment where we have, I think it's 6 campuses now. I'm situated in the Footscray campus, so the Footscray Park. I've been studying here for 3 years, like I said. I'm in my third year and I'm loving it, honestly. The thing that drew me most into VU was the block model. I found that the block model has been really helpful in terms of my lifestyle and just my study habits in general as well. It's quite quick paced. So just a little bit of the block model, what it is, it's 4-week blocks. So each block is a unit. And once you complete a unit, you don't go back to that ever again. So once you complete that unit, you're done, you focus on to the next one. So you focus on one thing at a time, which I find is really helpful and useful for me. And in terms of the classes, 3 days a week, 3-hour classes, very easy, very simple. I found that I've been able to really juggle my work with that as well. I'm working 5-6 jobs at the moment.
Wow!
Yeah, exactly. So that's really helped.
Brilliant.
And that's kind of why I chose it as well, because I'm quite a busy person and it really helps keep up.
We'll come back to block model. I'm really glad you started with that one. But okay, you got to name them. The 6 jobs, 6 jobs. What are they?
I got to get my LinkedIn up or something. So right now I'm working at VU Polytechnic as an administrative officer, a library assistant in the library services department, a volunteer assistant, student life, student ambassador. What's the other one?
So Bunnings, are you still at Bunnings?
No longer at Bunnings.
Nice.
Had to drop that one a while ago. Do some volunteering here and there as well for VU. So I'm quite involved. Can't remember the 5th job. What do I do?
Awesome. I mean, so let's come back to the block model. I'm really glad you started there because it's literally one of the standout things about the institution, in my view. And clearly it's something that you've really enjoyed.
Absolutely. Yep. I find it to be quite easy and it works for some people and it doesn't for some people. The reason why it works for me is because, as I said, I'm very fast paced and I like to get my work done and not go back to it again. I also learn a lot from it. I find like when I go to my classes, they're very interactive. It's not like you're not sitting in a lecture hall, you're in a small classroom full of 25 other students and a teacher, and you actually get to interact with your peers and with your teacher as well. So it builds connections whilst you're studying, which I find that not many traditional universities you get as much of a chance to do that as well.
And so, and you mentioned something there, so it really works for you. Is there a type of student you could think of that you're like, okay, this would definitely not be for them?
If someone learns slowly or likes to really take their time with their assessments, it might not be for them because you usually have an assessment a week, maybe even sometimes 2 in a week. As I said, it's really fast paced. So if you like things to be a bit more slowed down, you like to take your time in learning things and then apply them, it might be a bit tricky for that type of person to enjoy the block model as much.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? I mean, I guess the flip side of that is that if you're doing 3 or 4 subjects at once, you might not have everything every week. But when you have one of those weeks and everything, coincides, it's like the tornado.
Exactly. Exactly.
All of assessments just come crashing down. Yeah, that's good. Okay, cool. And you're studying psychology. So let's talk more about psych. What led you into psych?
Yeah. I've always, as cliche as it sounds, I've always been interested in psychology. Like growing up, I would always kind of find myself in a position where I'm listening rather than talking. And I feel like a lot of psychology, especially clinical practice, involves listening. So I've really enjoyed doing that throughout my life. And it only felt right. I can't imagine myself doing anything else, to be honest. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy getting to know people. And I also enjoy a bit of research as well. And psychology has that research aspect to it as well, which I really enjoy. So it's really, as cliche as it sounds, helping people and helping people through, I guess, curing their mind.
Yeah. And what's it like? You're in third year, so you've really experienced most of the degree. What's that experience been like?
It's been amazing. Honestly, you learn so much. You learn so much about people and the way their minds work and the way, why they behave a certain way. Sometimes, a lot of the times I get asked, "Oh, can you read my mind?" Unfortunately, I can't, but it really helps to, I guess, be able to adapt to different sorts of people. So, when I'm talking to people, it's like human nature or like natural for me to kind of analyze them, see if they're comfortable and behave based off of that as well. So that's kind of what I'm used to now, thanks to all these years of study. And yeah, like I said, it's a lot of content. Psychology is very content based and theory based, and there's also some research in there as well.
Funny you say, like, read, people ask you if you can read their mind. I remember reading a book called The Definitive Book of Body Language a number of
Ooh,
years ago. And it really is fascinating, actually, just how much of what people are thinking is written on their face in the kind of body language type setup.
exactly.
I highly recommend it. If you really do want to try and get a look inside what somebody's thinking, particularly if you're going into business or negotiations or anything like that, very, very handy skills to have.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So tell me more. So you're specializing in what particular area? Have you chosen a specialty yet?
I feel like this is the golden question of the year as I'm moving into my honors next year, and I feel like I should know. But psychology is really broad. So honestly, I haven't really chosen my path yet. So psychology is quite broad. So I haven't really chosen what exactly I want to do yet. But I think I'm steering towards the clinical psych aspect of psychology, or maybe even developmental psychology, because I really enjoy working or talking and understanding kids as well. So I'm really passionate about making a difference with kids as well. So maybe that's a possible interest, or clinical psych, absolutely anything. That's what I really love about psychology and pursuing psychology is I know that whichever field I get into in psychology, I'm going to be happy and I'm going to be doing exactly what I want to do. So I'm not too worried about that.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Such an incredible discipline because, I mean, obviously there's that clinical side, supporting and helping people through whatever challenges might present. But then everything in human behavior is based around our psychology. So pretty much if somebody's watching this and they're like, oh, I want to understand humans better, or I want a job that works with anything to do with humans, could just be in business. Having those fundamentals in psych, I reckon, are so valuable downstream.
Exactly. You see psych everywhere in law, in business, in even IT, you see it everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, think about TikTok.
Mm,
How has TikTok managed to become so freaking successful? It's because they're literally tapping into human psychology to feed you what you want before you know you want it. I mean, that's
exactly. How cool is
teams of,
that?
it's crazy. It's scary. I mean, teams of psychologists working with data scientists and artificial intelligence to generate what it has become is from. I'm not on TikTok for the exact reason. I'm like, I know I know my resistance is not as good as teams of psychologists and data scientists, but I'm just staying away.
Oh, fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah.
You really do
Cool.
get sucked into that.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things I'd love to ask you about is about the structure of a psych degree, because you mentioned you're going into honours,
Yeah,
and that's quite an important pathway, isn't it, in
yeah,
psychology?
absolutely. In order to become a fully qualified psychologist, you need to complete your honours degree as well as your master's degree. And to be able to get into your master's degree, you have to have your honours. So the way it works is you have that general 3 year of just content, theory, research practice as well, just a bit of research theory. And once you get into that honors year, you begin to write a thesis and you really begin to explore and mostly apply your research knowledge. You get to do a complete, research topic based off of whatever you want to do with the help of a supervisor, which will then get you ready for your master's as well. So your honors degree is really heavily research based.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. What kind of person do you think it suits?
if you don't enjoy statistics, you probably won't enjoy honours. But I guess there's ways to work around that as well, because although a research paper does require statistics, you are still, exploring psychology and the theory as well. You're kind of bringing both worlds together to create an amazing piece. So you might have to suck it up for one part, for the part that you enjoy. But yeah, I enjoy both parts. I really enjoy research as well as learning the theory and connecting them both together. So I'm really excited for my honours.
Funny, isn't it? Stats is such a beast. I did a bit of stats at university and hated it at university, completely hated it. But once I got out into the work world,
Mhm.
you start running into statistics in real life. I'm gonna put real life in inverted commas, and that I found really great.
Yeah.
Then you start to see, whether it's number of visitors to a
Mhm.
website, and then the conversion rates on that, and types of engagement, and you can start to look at those sort of statistics and what's working and what's not. That really kicked in my sort of practical
Mm.
excitement about the subject. So I'm probably
Yeah.
more excited about stats now than I was at uni when it was mandatory, but also a good skill
Oh,
up your sleeve, isn't it?
absolutely. I'm so glad to hear that you enjoy it now.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of people coming into psych saying, "Oh, is there stats in this?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, damn it, I don't want to do it anymore." But I'm like, "No, stats is actually really helpful." As you said, it's a transferable skill. Like, it might not seem very important in your life right then and there, but there will come a point where you do use it.
I love how you said that transferable skill. One of
Mm,
the things a big advocate for, and maybe this is a good segue too for us, but one of the things I'm a big advocate for is for people to add left field sort of skills onto their resume,
mm,
more than just jumping into uni, cracking through your degree, and then trying to get a job. What really takes you far, in my view, is when you've got those extra weird bits and pieces on your resume where people say, "Oh, you've done, an internship on artificial intelligence, even though you're studying biology." Why? Firstly, it's
right.
a point of curiosity. But secondly, there are very few people maybe who've done that combination of things that you've done. And that's so much more enticing to an employer to come and hire you when you've got those little standout things. Let's talk about the stuff that you've done outside of class at VU.
So, like I mentioned, I also volunteer for VU, a VU volley. When I started off, it was during peak COVID. During that time, obviously, people needed a lot of help, and some students were really lacking behind because of the COVID restrictions, because of the economical impact that it had on students as well, especially those living alone, especially those who are taking after kids and that sort of stuff. A part of the volunteering activity that I partook in was handing out free frozen meal packs to students that would be in need. And that was to help them, kind of relieve that stress of having to cook that night or, something like that. And VU Volley, the program has a lot of other opportunities that students can get involved in as well. So I've been in a lot of that. Other than that, I also volunteer for Western Health
Nice.
as a consumer advisor, yeah, and that involves sharing my community consumer views and perspectives on a range of topics, specifically mental health, as I am very psychology based, at a range of events, whether it interviews or panels, that sort of stuff, and that's really helpful as well. That really gets you to work on your speaking skills. And that's also an area that I always want to grow in. I feel like I can always improve there. Other than that, I also a massive advocate for the Smith family.
Ah,
Um,
great. Awesome
yeah,
organisation.
they really are. They really, really are. For those who might be watching who don't know what the Smith family are, the Smith family are a non-profit organisation based in Australia that help disadvantaged Australian students with their education, whether it be throughout high school all the way to tertiary. I got connected with them in year 7, and ever since then, they've been supporting me, and now I've become a sponsor. So, I'm supporting them, and I'm able to give back to them as well. So that's also what I've been involved in. Yeah, a lot of working, a lot of volunteering, a lot of trying to do good in the world.
That's the way to be, isn't it? Said it's been awesome to chat with you. Thanks
Same
for the
here,
time
John.
here on choosing your uni. And for those of you watching at home, more on choosingyouruni.com. Got lots of articles, videos, and everything, and new videos coming up all the time. So make sure you drop in your email address so that you get the very next bit of content that we put out. Awesome chatting with you today, Seds.